Good morning. Today we're taking a look at the XRP price action, some different chart perspectives of the puzzle that we're working on here, along with the VLO data and the Sigma coin. All right, so let's see. Here's our USD Coinbase XRP chart, and we had our 5-wave move off the lows. An ABC correction was expected to come in, closing some gaps around the 618 to 702 regions. And man, did they liquidate everybody in just moments down here to 269, which is incredible, and shot it right back up to where we would have expected price action to be here on everything else. So this measured move ended up just becoming nothing with all the leverage. And then we have now the likelihood of a completion. So we're going to start working our way out of these levels. But before we go into what this shows, I want to kind of touch base with kind of two pathways that we can do. So we'll start with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin here, we have our corrective structure to the upside, a ABC move to the downside. And now the question is, will this break out of here and continue higher, or do we have to sweep down one more time and possibly get down to 102,400 to 102 and do one more just massive liquidity flush to complete a larger ABC? So that's kind of the question mark that we're going to be finding out together. So obviously if these lows start being lost at 112 and we see that level played to the downside, well, then that's going to be an area. Now, these lines right here, this was the all-time high that came in recently. We came down, we back tested it pretty aggressively in clean levels. And it's potentially doing the setup for an ABC, but this measured move is pretty long at a 618, so it makes me think there could be another rollover that could play here on Bitcoin. So we'll just continue to monitor this. Now, going back to XRP though, so we have XRP with the lower low, and now we have the Korean XRP on Upbit, and lo and behold, it does not have a lower low. It actually has the full gap close that we were anticipating, almost perfectly tagged it, and we're now actually already bouncing off of these lows with a wave 1, wave 2 completion. And now we'll begin our wave 1, wave 2 for the next area here. When we go to the market cap chart, same story. Here's our 5-wave move to the upside, an ABC backtest to the 1618 measured move and the 786 backtest here. And you can see that that gap has been closed and we're already bouncing off of those levels. And in addition to that, you've got the VLO data, which is coming in right now. And when it loads, you'll see that we've actually have a majority of the positioning right now is short. So we're seeing the liquidations completely take out the longs. We've moved into a massive short position now, and this is already resulting in a bounce. So there will be probably some late longs that get flushed one time. But for now, this is actually a really good bottom signal. As you can see, we've had, when this happens, bounces. When this happens, eventual bounces, right? So you can see that even when these come into play here, there's a bounce that can happen. Even if it's not long-lived, it can still manifest. So we have completely wiped it. Funding is completely negative, and that means that we're probably looking at a reversal, which we're already seeing come into play here. So now, going back into our zoomed-in price action, what we're looking for is a lot of gaps here, right? So we've got a big gap right here, another gap that we're filling currently, and now we actually have a gap to the downside right here where this was just passed right through. So the way I'm looking at this right now is we will be working with a 5-wave move off the lows. So you'll be seeing a 5-wave move, and the question will be, can we continue and get back up to this region maybe with a larger maybe wave 3 and a wave 4 back into this area, then go in for a corrective structure to the downside. When we look at the Korean chart, this would be something along these lines. So we would see a kind of a parabolic move back up to that top of that range, hit up in here, and then come back down and close this gap, which we can see that the gap is already forming. Same gap right here at this level. So there will be a back test probably into this region after we kind of get back up into this region, allowing everyone to escape, and then one more freak out to the downside. Now, intriguing additional is we had our XRP dominance. Okay, so we've been monitoring, and I have had this question mark sitting here forever, wondering if we were going to do an ABC equal measured move down to this level and this gap close that we had been monitoring at the 4.26%, and we did. I mean, absolutely wild to see this come in, and this gap has now completely filled over here on the right. And you can see that maybe this isn't even necessary at this point for a gap close, and that has finished. And so this price action here has been absolutely aggressive to take back market share in percentages. When we bounce over to the XRP wedge here, we had been following this larger XRP over Bitcoin wedge, and we were expecting a back test into this region, just like this white line showed. And man, we shot through, but we've reclaimed it completely and so quick that it makes me think that that too may be done. And then there's this pairing, which is the XRP over oil pairing, which was actually the most clean. And you can see that our triangle played out with the back test of the wedge again. And now we're actually bouncing and moving out of here and starting to make this kind of overall structure become even more bullish. So zooming in into the super price action of what we've got here is that the expectation is that with these gaps that have been left down here, a retest of these regions is probably likely, and we'll continue kind of impulsing back up into this region. We may get cut short down into here, but that's kind of the idea. And this run to the higher levels should allow us to come back in, back test this, and then we can get out of here for the next move. And I don't think that we broke anything, and I do think we are setting higher lows simply because we have the Korean chart showing us this. We have the XRP market cap showing us this. The only things we don't have is we don't have the Bitcoin USD chart showing us this because of the liquidations were just so insane with all of the speculative leverage longing. So, but yeah, so we'll just continue to monitor this price action, be cognizant of the fact that 282 is most likely a retest area. So if we are able to make our way back out of here, close all these gaps up into this region, get back up into the supply, then we can actually come back down, back test this with an ABC. And we may even be able to just kind of guess at this point. So if we do this kind of move here, let me see if I can make this happen. If we assume that that back test is a 618 level, we could say, well, if that's a 618, we may actually, yeah, that would be pretty interesting to get back up into 304 land, wreck all the shorts, and then come back down and back test the 618. So we could even maybe say that this maybe is a more shallow 3.5 or 3.82, I mean, and we just come back in for a 382. So we may somewhere between 291 and 304 would be my guess of where this will end, probably in this region right here due to that gap. So now during this whole time, how's Sigma been performing? Well, Sigma's taken in the chin a little bit, had its great parabolic runs off the lows, and we've had a pullback now from the highs of an additional about 13%. Considering that the USD pairing of XRP itself fell 10%, it's really pretty much just the XRP itself that's causing this pullback. So, but we already see buyers stepping in, and this is holding a higher low thus far, and it's back, and it hasn't even back tested this region. So my expectation with the RSIs being reset on the 1 hour and with the 4 hour getting close to bottoming out, that this bullish continuation will continue to manifest on Sigma. Even if you had just been messing around, we're still floating at a 56% upside from where we were when we were down at 1.24 million before we pushed up to this higher level. So, all right, so that's kind of what I'm seeing in the markets. To recap, we've got lower low on the USD pairing, but an impulsive structure working its way to the upside. We've got a dominance of oil showing that we've completed a triangle, Bitcoin dominance reclaiming the wedge, and the overall dominance flash crashing down, closing the gap and allowing us to now be out of here with a larger WXYXZ correction. And then finally, we've got ourselves Bitcoin maybe done after backtesting this all-time high and can get out of here with an ABC that was a little extended, or it has one more rollover back down into this region to really panic everybody into the 102 to 101 region. And then you finally have the Korean won not setting a lower low and supporting a higher XRP version as it's working its way impulsively out of here. And then along with the market cap giving us that region, and the velo data showing that it's all shorts right now. So the longs, it's your turn. And this is a possible structure of how we can do it. So we can just kind of move out of here, get back up to the top of the range, and then back test and close those gaps. So ultimately, Sigma's still looking great. We have a good support being built here, and I expect it to continue, and we can finally work our way out of this whole region. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll check in tomorrow.